Thank you so much, and thank you for all coming today, especially the ones still here. You must be the champions of a long day. I have 3 points, which is the wrap up of today. First of all, I think it's pretty safe to say that we're beyond the days where we have the old guy in the gray suit sit in the corner and say, "Go hire some young people, put them in the funky office we have, and then let them do social media." Social media has become a true business platform. We are using it for selling. We're using it for marketing. We're using it for HR. I mean, we are social all in all through the business today. So social has become more than just a digital platform. It's a new business tool, and it should be integrated into how we work. I think this is probably what we've heard throughout the day, mostly. We got to be able to tie in social media metrics, whatever we do, into what the business stands for. And I think this is super important for all of you who raised your hands when you're social media managers or content managers and so on. If we don't speak the language of business people, they're not going to take us seriously. I'm hoping, I don't know, we put out 400, sorry for flødeboller, when we reached 400 people here, but we're beyond the days of like cakes. I mean, if we post another picture of a like cake, yeah, we reached the 10,000 likes on our Facebook page. The CEO is going to be like, and so what? We got to be able to tie this into the business metrics, and the C-suite, they are into basically 90% of the times 3 things: revenue, profits, and minimizing risk. That is what they're measuring. That's what they're steering the business on. So those are the metrics that we need to tie into. And I think we saw a lot of presentations today on how do we actually start evaluating? How do we convert the stuff we do on social towards what we want to achieve as a business? And last but not least, there is some kind of a, oh, this is where it gets salesy. We have beer coming up, so I'm allowed to. What is the must-have social media toolbox of today? Well, we need to have some kind of strategy. We got to start listening to a lot more than we've been used to. We got to be able to work professionally with how we post, how we follow up, how we measure, and I think it's been an eye opener for some of the guys for some of you in here, that social media is now the number one threat for people entering our organization, stealing our customer data. So we also need to protect our social media. Just quick wrap up. I've been in most of the session, or all of the sessions in here, and I couldn't do them all during the breakouts. But first of all, we need to be on mark with our strategy. We need to make sure we know where we are and where we want to go. And if we can then benchmark it towards the industry, then we have an idea of, are we actually leaders, laggers, or left behind? This is the first thing you need to figure out in terms of where you are. And let's say the dark blue is where you are now, the light blue is where you want to go, and the red is the industry. You might have some ambitions as where you want to take your business, but if your projection in 18 months is still behind your competitors, then you need to go sort that out right now rather than 18 months. Then secondly, there's the listening part. I spent a lot of time on this slide. We all know that we start out by listening to our brand, and I think most organizations are here where we then understand how to listen in our vertical, so to speak. So we are listening to our customers, we are listening to trends, we are listening all the way to issues, agendas, competitors, industry performers, we are finding our influencers. So we are using the listening space, but as we see it in the companies that we talk to, we're still super focused on our vertical. I think the next big thing is going to be how you listen in your value chain. With all the disruption that we see today, and it comes from both sides in the value chain. If you produce meat, for example, then you better be sure that your farmers don't gain momentum on social, because all of a sudden perhaps you're left behind. Or what goes on in in the stores. If Coop all of a sudden now determines that they want to do something on social, what does that do to the ones producing meat? So one thing is listening, and I think we are getting there, listening to our vertical, but start thinking about how you listen to your value chain as well. And of course, then there's this discussion: are we just listening locally, or regionally, or globally? Then there's the entire job about getting the entire organization on social. And I think we've heard a lot of super interesting talks today, all of which had one goal, saying get everybody involved, especially top management, starting what do we do with our corporations, then figuring out what are we doing, do we have more locations, do we have different offices, do we have subsidiaries that we need to get on, how do we align our business here, what do we do with all the functions we have, do we have a social selling program, do we have a HR program, how do we evolve from here? And last but not least, and I think we heard that several times from stage today, what do we do with our employees? How do we enable those on social? And how do we do it in some kind of manner where it's actually, data-driven, where we know what we're doing, and we're not putting our company out there. The last thing is the protection part. You also Evan up here, but basically, all of the efforts that we are doing now is done outside of our organization. We are investing a lot of money and efforts in something that we do not control. I mean, it's easier to control our email server than it is to control what goes on Facebook. So we really need to start thinking about, are we actually prepared for what's out there? And I think the examples are so many, and I'm a bit scared. You know, I mean, we all, I think Evan said that today, we all get the pretty email or pretty Facebook invite, and like delete, delete, delete. But I mean, what happens when it's somebody we think we know, and all of a sudden they're in your LinkedIn network? That leads into your business and what goes on then. So I didn't click here. So the must-have social media toolbox nicely ties in with the guys who's been here today. Ta-da! One thing here is that this is a lot of logos all of a sudden, but I want to say one thing. The strategy of how we are working in Infomedia is finding solutions that are integrated with each other. So you might have as a social media manager, you don't have to log into 15 applications. All of these things that we find out there, best of breed, we make sure that they actually work together, and they work together with a lot of other platforms. For example, your CRM system or your Adobe Audience Management, Experience Manager, and so on. So these are super integratable, and since they're on there, please help me thank our sponsors. They're the reason that we could do this today. So please give them a hand. And while we are clapping, please give a hand to all these amazing speakers as well. And then I have this slide. I checked it 15 times, because if I got the animations wrong, I would hate myself forever, and hopefully you can figure out why. But you all saw this many times today. We're not going to be doing that anymore. Put away your phones. Now we're going to take the media out of social media and just be social. So this is what we're going to be doing now. Yeah, imagine if that was the other way around. No more beer? Oh, that wouldn't have worked. So hopefully you had a great day. Hopefully you'll join us for a snack and a drink or a beer outside. And all I have to say is thank you, and see you all next year.